Hey, good evening, and welcome to my very first Monday night Doc Talk. And so basically, what I wanted to do is to have a space where I can kind of talk about a individual topic. So far, if you've looked down at the videos all the way down, you'll probably will see that most of the videos so far have been pretty spontaneous at various times. You know, maybe we were making dinner one night, so I thought, maybe I can go ahead and make a video presentation on how to steam asparagus or something. You know, just kind of off the cuff. And a little bit later, got a little wiser as far as having lighting and things like that on board. So this is one of those things where basically it's still a work in progress. Still getting used to talking on camera about different things. So tonight, though, I did want to talk a little bit about identity, especially as it comes in terms of medical topics. And so basically, what I'm going to do is talk for a few minutes about this topic, and then towards the end, have some time available for some questions. So if you guys have any questions, you go ahead and type it in the chat box, and I've got somebody assisting me over here who's going to help me, and we'll look through and see the questions towards the end. So when it comes to identity, there's a lot of different ways in which we can think about it. I was starting to write something for a video, for a regular blog where you write down, this is who I am, and start to put things out there. And as I started to do this topic, I realized there's a lot of different ways in which you can describe yourself. Most of the ways in which we talk about ourselves in this culture and society is essentially in a lot of the more superficial characteristics, like where was I born, what kind of job do I have, what kind of degrees do I have, did I get any fancy honors or awards or anything along those lines. And so basically I started thinking, I was like, all right, well, that's great. I went to school, I got this degree, I went here, did this, did that, and got different things. And then I thought, but is that really who I am? Or is that just a superficial characteristic of this person here, so to say? And who was I before I went to school? Who was I before I graduated high school, college, or grade school? And the one thing that I found true for myself was that there was this just sense of being aware of I amness, existence, you know, some sort of part of me that was aware and witnessing all of these journeys and transitions, because a lot of the characteristics about ourselves change. So you start off as a baby, you get a little bit older, you go through school, you get even older, and then at some point we pass on from this journey that is life. So anywho, so what does that have to do with identity and medicine and so forth? Well, partly why I'm dragging you guys through all this is to just kind of talk a little bit about what is a sense of identity and how does it impact our health. And for that, I've got a little model here. So this is a orange, or little halo, I guess, technically. And so there's a lot of different ways. When you go through medicine, there's a lot of different ways in which we study. Let's pretend this is a human body. So we can look at it, we can see the entire orange. This particular orange has got a little label on it. So this is a 2017 start fresh little thing. And when we go to anatomy class, well, sorry, a little graphic here. We end up going inside and taking a look at it. If you get to be a subspecialty, well, not only do you sometimes take apart the thing to look at a particular thing, but maybe somebody is a specialist in this little bit of the peel or something. Maybe there's a specialist who deals only with, you know, a segment here about these little segments and lines and such. and so on and so forth. And so there's different ways in which we can look at the human body, a human person, or somebody else. There's other people that specialize when the orange is taken apart to stack it all together and make it look new again. So that would be probably surgery. Anywho, and so I was kind of thinking in the same way, who a person identifies with, whether they're a specialty that is looking at different segments of a person, or if there's somebody who has a tendency to see the whole orange, and I tend to be one of those people that has a tendency to want to see the big picture and see everything that's going on. And I'm sorry if you hear an echo. It's pulled up here as well. So anywho, so one of the things that that I was thinking of talking about, if you happen to be a whole person and you end up getting treated for maybe just a little tiny nugget of it, well, that is all well and good, but sometimes it's nice to be able to see what's going on in the environment. In family practice, it's kind of nice because we get to see a single person, and we get to see, their brothers and sisters, sometimes husband, wife, kid, that sort of thing. And so you can put the person in context of the family. And also, sometimes when you're seeing a person in the context of their family, sometimes you can keep in mind the society. And so, a person in context of the others that are tending to be in there. And so, another way in which we can look at identity is seeing a particular person in context of whichever society or system they happen to be living in. And sometimes we might accidentally mislabel or judge. Maybe I think that this is an avocado rather than an orange, or something along those lines, and then only later say, oh wait, oops, that was something different going on in there. And ways in which this is also important for medicine too is if I've got a particular individual and they came from Orange County, Florida, they might have a certain set of beliefs about what can happen with their medical care. Whereas if I've got another orange that might have come from, let's say, California rather than Florida, they might have an entirely different set of beliefs about their medical care. I talk a lot about food science, and I'm happy to be playing with food tonight. So, and one of the things that occasionally comes up in clinic is I might mention some research on, let's say, the decongestant properties of hot peppers, which I can attest to very, very quickly. And so, and occasionally I'll have someone that comes up to me and says, well, I don't believe in, the impact of food and health. And so basically one of the things that kind of struck me is that, for me, I think about the context of people in their greater context, because some of these beliefs that they have about what can happen for them can really impact how their medical care is delivered. So for somebody that doesn't think that hot peppers can do anything to your sinuses or decongest or basically cause, the fluids to run and the eyes to water and all that kind of thing, well, that's kind of okay. You got to accept where people are at the time. And for that particular person, maybe instead of recommending a cayenne pepper tablet, or maybe they've got some heartburn or something that they can't use that particular thing for, or they just don't have any interest or any desire to it. For them, Sudafed is a very acceptable alternative for most people, just as long as you don't have to worry about your blood pressure going up for any reason. And so the idea is that when people have particular beliefs about their health care, it can basically really impact how well we communicate. because if you come from a community in which you find that different herbs or foods or other practices are essential for your health, I may or may not have any research or anything to go along with that. And so it's one of those things where I want to be talking to people and communicating in such a way that we actually get a chance to communicate. Another way of thinking about identity in the context of medicine is also in terms of beliefs. Sometimes people come with limiting beliefs, such as I could never do that, or I could never eat that way, or I could never give up certain foods that are not necessarily healthy for them. And so that's one of those things, is if you're a person that believes that something can or cannot happen, generally speaking, my answer back to you is essentially, you're right. If you think that you can, then there's a chance that we might be able to communicate and find a method or a way in which you can go forward with it. If you have a very big block and you think, nope, no way, I can't do this, regardless of what the this is, whether it's changing and eating a couple more fruits and vegetables per day, or whether that's taking a little bit of exercise, or in whichever context it happens to be, basically, as they say, the patient's always right in a way. And if you're not able to, or not wanting to make any changes because of limiting beliefs, or because of other things, in that case, we just have to essentially start with where you are. Alrighty, so, this has been just a few minutes of talking about different ways in which we can look at identity and how we label both ourselves as well as others, different ways of thinking about our healthcare, and ways in which we can use some of this understanding to help communicate. And so I don't see that there's been any questions or anything on there. And so I'm going to, okay, how does identity relate to my health problems? Well, basically, as I was saying before, if somebody has a sense of themselves as only being, for example, the body without taking care of their mind, for example, or without taking care of going to quieter areas in their inner self, then they might not think about basically how about different ways in which they can take actions constructively in order to better their health. If somebody feels that they cannot change or do anything different, then usually that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Sometimes, in folks who are interested in learning a little bit more about some of these topics, we can open the door a little bit and basically let them in and make it so that we can explore together, and things like that. How do I sort out what you're saying? Can you explain a little bit more of what you're looking for in that answer, or in that question? I'm just waiting for the rest of the question to be typed in there, so that's why the silence for a few moments. Oh, I see. Got it. I'm not really quite sure how to respond to that in the moment on there. Alrighty. Well, I guess that's about all that I've got for tonight on the topic of identity and medicine for this moment. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next time. Good night. Bye bye.